Welcome back to our YouTube channel, The Book Digest. In today's episode, we're diving into a powerful and practical summary of 100M Leads by Alex Hormozi. So we've all been there, right? You've built what you believe is a fantastic product or service, what Hormozi would call a grand slam offer. But crickets. The silence is just deafening. The customers simply aren't showing up. And this, right here, is the single biggest hurdle that trips up most businesses. And it's the exact problem this book was written to solve.
Hormozi puts it pretty bluntly right at the start. Let's be real. Your incredible offer is completely useless if you don't have a steady, predictable stream of people who are actually interested in it. This isn't just some marketing tip. It's like the fundamental law of business survival.
So, Section 1, the origin story. This isn't just theory for Hormozi, you know. Back in 2017, his company Gym Launch was literally on the brink of collapse. He was personally broke, facing a massive payroll with zero income coming in after a disastrous client refund. I mean, he was backed into a corner, and it's this exact crisis that forged the entire system we're about to unpack.
So here's the kicker. What saved him wasn't some new product or a lucky break. It was a skill. The skill to generate leads, and we're talking about people who actually want what you're selling on demand, whenever you need them. Hormozi argues this is the ultimate asset for any business, because, think about it, it gives you infinite second chances.
All right, Section 2, the foundation. To build that skill, we gotta get one thing straight first, and that's the core distinction between just leads and engaged leads. It sounds simple, but trust me, this one idea unlocks his entire system. Okay, so not all leads are created equal, right? A lead is, well, it's just contact info. It's a broad, kind of useless category. But an engaged lead? Now that's someone who has actually raised their hand. They've taken a specific action. Maybe they clicked a link or filled out a form, and they've expressed genuine interest. And that's the whole point. Your goal isn't to just collect a bunch of contacts. It's to create real, honest-to-goodness engagement.
So how do you create that engagement? Well, that's where the lead magnet comes in. This is a high-value item, like a guide, a checklist, a mini-course that you give away for free. And the key here is that it has to be genuinely valuable. I'm talking so good you could probably charge money for it. It solves one specific, narrow problem for your prospect, and in doing so, it proves you know your stuff and builds trust before you ever ask for a single penny.
Okay, Section 3, the playbook. Now that we've got the foundation down, we can get into the meat of it, the core methods. And what's really cool is that Hormozi argues that every single lead generation tactic you can think of fits into one of just 4 categories.
And here it is, this simple grid. This is basically the entire universe of lead generation. It's all based on 2 things. Your audience, are they warm or cold? And your communication, are you talking one-to-one or one-to-many? You cross these, and boom, you get the only 4 methods you'll ever need. That's it.
So these are the core 4. Warm outreach to people you already know. Posting free content to attract an audience over time. Cold outreach to totally new prospects. And of course, running paid ads to really scale things up. Mastery of these 4 pillars is the whole game. So let's take a closer look at where he says you should start and where you should aim to scale.
Hormozi is super clear on this. Almost every single business should start right here. Warm outreach. This just means contacting people you already have some connection with. Friends, family, your social media followers. It's so powerful because it requires absolutely zero budget and it leverages trust that's already there. You don't need a fancy brand or a marketing team to get going with this, like today.
But, and this is a big but, to make it work, you need volume. A lot of it. This is Hormozi's famous rule of 100. The idea is simple, but it's totally non-negotiable. You contact 100 people from your warm list every single day. It's all about playing the numbers game consistently until the math just has to work in your favor.
Okay, now let's jump all the way to the other end of the spectrum. Paid ads. This is one-to-many communication with a completely cold audience. Look, this is the most powerful method for scaling a business to crazy levels, but it's also the absolute easiest place to just burn through cash if you don't have a solid system.
And of course, Hormozi has a system for it. It's like a recipe. Every successful ad he's ever run follows this 6-part structure. First, you interrupt their scroll. Then you state their problem with precision. You establish your credibility. Why should they listen to you? You offer that lead magnet as the perfect solution, give them a crystal clear call to action, and then add a little touch of urgency to get them to act now. See, it turns the so-called art of advertising into a repeatable science.
All right, Section 4, scaling the machine.
Once you've actually mastered one of these methods, the goal is to stop being the only one doing all the heavy lifting. This is where you build a real lead generation machine by leveraging what he calls lead getters, basically other people and systems that bring in leads for you.
And Hormozi breaks these down into 4 main types. First, you've got your customers who bring in referrals. Then you can hire employees to build out outreach and content teams. You can partner with affiliates who promote you for a commission. And finally, you can hire specialized agencies. The big idea here is to build systems that don't depend solely on you showing up every day.
Okay, so I know this is a ton of information, and the most important question is probably buzzing in your head right now. Where the heck do I start? Hormozi totally gets that, and he lays out a super clear, step-by-step roadmap that he calls a decade in a page. And this just brilliantly illustrates the whole logic. You don't try to do everything at once. That's a recipe for disaster. You start with warm outreach because it's free and it gets you your first paying clients. The revenue from those clients then funds your content creation. Once that's working, you hire people to do more of it for you. As your product gets better and better, referrals start flowing in naturally. And only then, when you have this solid foundation, do you pour gasoline on the fire with paid ads. See how that works? Each stage literally funds the next one.
So that brings us to the final and most crucial question. The goal here isn't to just dabble in all 4 of these methods at the same time. No way. It's to pick one, commit to it with massive, relentless volume, and truly master before you even think about moving to the next. So, looking at this framework, which single method are you going to master first?